Hey friends, welcome or welcome back. I am about to start week 3 of the Readathon Rebellion. This is a month-long readathon hosted by Mel from Eleanor Reads. I will have the announcement linked down below if you don't know what I'm talking about. There's plenty of time to participate this month, so if you want to join, then that would be great. I don't know how I'm going to live without game boards after this month. I have had so much fun with this game board. Trying to figure out what prompts I can put together and what combinations I can make in order to fulfill all of the prompts on the board, which is not something that you need to do. I just, I just wanted to do it for this month. So yeah, I'm having a blast with that. I think I've made it about halfway through the board so far. So let's get rolling and see where I can get to this week. Okay, I am rolling for week number 3. You can see my progress so far. The red is every prompt that I have completed, and the silver is where we left off. So in the first video, this is where we left off. In the second video, oh my gosh, cats again. In the second video for week 2, we ended up here. We should have ended up here, but my counting and being distracted by this cat that is right here in the video right now is every time I do this, she seems to want to be in it. Watch out, Mouse. Watch out, Mouse. This way. Thank you. So after my mistake, we're just going to stick with what I said in the week 2 video. Let's roll for week number 3. We are about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through so far. I didn't realize that objective number 3 and objective number 4 were so close together, so I'll probably be reading both of those. Well, not probably. I will be reading both of these books in the week 4 vlog. As long as I don't get to objective 4, which I hope I don't. I should probably count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so it makes me wonder whether I should still be using 3. Whatever I roll today will be the last time I roll, because whatever I have left will be in week number 4. I'm still not going to look at those ones for week number 4. So why don't we just do 2, and then if we have to roll again, then that's fine. Watch out, sweet girl. Watch out. Oh, kitties. Okay, thank you. You gonna tell me where I'm at? Okay, roll number 3. Well, roll number 1 for week number 3. We have 6 and a 1. So that is 7. Oh, thank you. Okay, so we need an info gathering card. I'm just going to set all of these in here this time. And a roadblock. Thank you so much for helping. And a training card. And a side quest card. Then we need another info gathering card, another roadblock, and another training. Okay, I'm just going to set those there. That's 7 out of, what did I say we had left? 18, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. Okay, so we got 7 out of 17, have 10 cards left. Let's just roll one more. 4. Okay. Hi, baby. Oh, where did I leave off? You're very distracting, you know that? You're very distracting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we need a side quest, an info gathering. Oh, you're such a lumpy baby. A roadblock, which she's laying on. Ugh, mouse. How many is that again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That one is training. Okay. Okay, so the first card that we picked up was an info gathering card. Match your book to your most recent song. Okay, that's an interesting one. I'll have to check and see what my most recent song is. Our second card was a roadblock card, and that is to read a book featuring a monster as a character. That's an interesting one because that can be up to interpretation a little bit. Third card is a training card, and it is to read a book that was published prior to your last read. Sorry, there's a cat again. Same cat. Being a troublemaker. Okay, read a book that was published prior to your last read. And then we got a side quest that is to read a special edition. I'm going to pause this for 1 second and move the cat outside. Okay, I'm back. Now I have a different cat laying on stuff, but she seems to be pretty calm, so we'll just leave her there. The fourth card we picked up was a side quest card that is to read a special edition. I do have a couple of these on my shelf. I don't subscribe to anything where I get special editions or typically buy them unless they are a favorite that I've already read. So, but I do think I have one or two that I have not read yet. So I'll have to go check on that one. And our fifth card was an info gathering card, and it says to read a book you heard about from a council leader's video. This will be easy because I watch Lexi and Mel and Cassidy on a pretty regular basis. I do watch, some of the other council leaders as well, but those three are probably the ones that I watch the most. So I will find a book that matches that. And our sixth, I think it's the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. So our sixth card that we picked up is a roadblock card that says, read a book involving found family. I should have something that fits that. And card number 7 was a training card. Read a book outside your comfort zone. That might be a little bit hard because my comfort zone is kind of expanded a little bit, so I'll have to see what I can find for this one. The 8th card was a side quest card that says to read a book with a map. I do have some of these on my shelf, so I should be able to find something for that. And our 9th card was to read a book you wouldn't want someone next to you on the plane to see. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I might be able to combine that one with the one that's that the prompt was to read a book outside of my comfort zone. So that one might work. Card number 10 is a roadblock card. It says to read a book with some form of transportation on the cover. That one might be hard because I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to read for this I think it was Kayla's challenge, her book cover challenge, to find a book with transportation on the cover. So I will find something for this, though, even if I have to get something from the library, that's fine. And then our last card, number 11, is to read a book with an isolated setting. That is a perfect prompt for me because that is one of the things that I like the most out of my thriller and horror books. Okay, I am 50% into my first book. I took a little bit of a risk here because we got 11 prompts for the rolls this week, and I'm only using one on my first book. I decided to read because I needed to play a little bit of Libby Chicken, Asylum Hotel by Juliet Blackwell. This is a story about Aubrey Spencer. She loves photographing classic old buildings and abandoned places that hold old secrets. The Hotel Sebring, perched overlooking the sea, is one such place. Currently empty but scheduled for a major renovation, it has a torrid history. Back in the 1920s, it hosted A-list celebrity clientele, and now the locals insist it is haunted by the ghosts of 2 young women who died there. When Aubrey goes to photograph the site before the renovation begins, she bumps into a man named Dmitry Petrov a minor online celebrity who shares her fascination with old buildings, the Hotel Sebring in particular. When he is found dead the next day at the base of a cliff, the police are quick to close the investigation, but Aubrey feels unsettled by locals who claim he was murdered. And that's not the first time someone interested in the hotel was killed. As she digs deeper into the property's dark history and its origins as an asylum, as well as Dimitri's professional rivalries, she becomes mired in an unsolved murder case from several decades earlier, one with eerie parallels to the contemporary case. But someone is determined to keep her from discovering the truth at any cost. So I really like this so far. Like I said, I am 50% in. That's the first time I read the synopsis, so I just wanted to get an idea of what was in the synopsis before telling you anything about it, because I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't typically read the synopsis before I read books anymore. So I am liking this so far. I like the writing. Even though it has been kind of a slow start, I am enjoying parts of it. Like, I like the characters, and I think that the setting is really interesting, and like the history of this hotel, even though it's not a real hotel, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's a real hotel. I do like learning about it, especially as its history as an asylum, I think is really interesting. I was surprised to learn some of the reasons why women were institutionalized. I know about some of them just from reading other books about it. And some of those reasons were really dumb now today, like things that we just, as women go through every day anyways. So I found it really interesting that, like reading too much. I mean, I'd be guilty. I don't understand how that could ever qualify as, something that would make you end up in an asylum. But I did find that kind of interesting. I do think right now, like this is labeled as a mystery thriller on Storygraph. I do feel like right now, at least, it's leaning a little more towards mystery for me personally. But that's not to say that it wouldn't be thrilling for somebody else. It's just with, my experience with reading thrillers that this seems pretty tame so far. I do like the colors on the cover, even though it seems like, kind of a standard cover for thrillers nowadays. But I do like the colors on here. This like teal color and this like dark pinkish color here. I don't know. I don't know why. I just was really drawn to the cover of this. So I'm going to continue this. Today is my day off. So I will probably finish this because I have a lot of things to do, yet again, like I always do on my days off. Laundry, of course, like always. That's just what happens whenever you're in a house with 4 people and have to do almost everything. So I will check back in with you whenever I finish this, and we'll see how it goes. I think that I'm hoping, even if it just continues on its same pace, that it won't be necessarily boring for me. Like I said, I am liking the setting and the discussions and the things that are happening in this. So I will check back in with you whenever I finished and let you know how it went. Okay, I am back. I have finished Asylum Hotel. I am going to give this 3.5 stars. I ended up enjoying it. It was fine. It was a little better than fine. I liked the writing, and I liked the discussions on mental health in this book a lot. It doesn't go super in depth or in detail, but I do like the thoughts that I was having as I was reading it, if that makes sense. The things that it was causing me to think about, I appreciated. So I did like that. I think that the ending was satisfying, but ultimately predictable, which was disappointing. But I think that's why it maybe just like knocked maybe half a star off for me, because I don't feel like this was ever going to be more than a 4-star for me, only because of the slow pace of it. I didn't hate it. I just wanted more out of it. But I have never read from this author before, and it seems like some of what she writes is of the like cozy mystery variety. So that makes a little bit more sense and why this was maybe a little more tame than some of the others that I've read before. So even though there was nothing really surprising in this book for me, other than the mental health related, some of the mental health related things that were surprising to me, even though the thriller aspect of it wasn't, and the mystery aspect of it wasn't necessarily surprising for me, I do want to try and read from this author again in the future. I don't know if I will read any of her cozy mysteries, because cozy is not generally my jam. But if she comes out with other things that, you know, aren't labeled as cozy, then I'll probably give them a try. So with the isolated setting prompt down, I got all my laundry done, by the way, while I was listening to this. And after I got all my laundry done, I decided to start looking for my next book, because I do have a little bit of time that I could at least start another one tonight. So I think that I'm going to use Published Prior to Your Last Read and Transportation on the cover, and a book that I wouldn't want someone next to me on the plane to see, to read a book that's been on my shelves for a really long time. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read this. I know that a lot of people have really loved this book. I'm not sure. I feel like at some point I started trying to read this, but I think that this was before I was primarily an audiobook listener. I don't think that I was really into it whenever I tried reading it physically, but maybe now with the audiobook I might be able to get through it. So I am going to read The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. So Transportation on the cover. This was, I think, maybe the only book that I had left in the house that had transportation on the cover. And a book I wouldn't want someone on the plane to see me read, because I mean, with the title and a plane, if I'm sitting on a plane like this and there's somebody sitting on this side of me, I don't know what people would think. So anyways, that's my justification for that anyways. And this one is obviously published prior to my last read, because Asylum Hotel was just published, I think, last month, and this one was published, I believe, in 2016 or 2015. So I will be starting this next. I'm going to get a little bit into it tonight, but I probably will not get to halfway. So I will update you tomorrow whenever I get halfway into this. And I will give you a synopsis for this tomorrow as well, because I want to at least get halfway into it, because I do know some things about it, but I don't know a whole lot, so, or at least can't remember a whole lot. So, and I don't really want to read the synopsis until I'm about halfway through. So I will give you synopsis for this tomorrow in case you don't know what this is about, and let you know whenever I'm halfway through. It's the next day. I have gotten 50% into The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. Let me tell you what this is about. On a flight from London to Boston, Ted Severson meets the stunning Lily Kintner, that's a hard last name to say. Over martinis, the strangers play a game in which they reveal intimate details about themselves. Ted talks about his wife Miranda, how their marriage has gone stale, how a week ago he caught her in a stunning betrayal. But what begins as a playful banter between Ted and Lily takes a swift turn when Ted claims, half seriously, that he would like to kill his wife. Then Lily surprises him by saying that she'd like to help. Back in Boston, Ted and Lily forge an unusual bond and talk about the ways Ted can get out of his marriage, but Lily has her own dark history she's not sharing with Ted, and Ted is keeping something from Lily too. But as Ted begins to fall in love with Lily, he grows anxious about any holes in their scheme that could give them away. And suddenly the two are pulled into a very lethal game of cat and mouse, one in which both are not likely to survive when all is said and done. So I have read from Peter Swanson before. I don't remember a whole lot about either one. I think I've read 8 Perfect Murders, and there was another one with a blue cover that I think I read also. I don't remember I think I gave both of them 4 stars, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember. Anyways, I haven't disliked him in the past, and I don't entirely dislike this one. However, I feel like it's very complicated because you start out with Ted and Lily talking at the bar in the airport, and and then you get into Lily's backstory a little bit and why she is kind of the way that she is. And as you get further in, though, you're starting to get different perspectives, and I don't entirely love the way that it's done. I feel like it's a bit complicated and difficult to understand, or difficult to follow. It's not really difficult to understand, it's difficult to follow exactly like a timeline of events, because it's just kind of, or maybe it's the way that I'm reading it, I don't know. It just feels very disconnected in a way. Like I said, it's not horrible, and I do want to continue with it. I do want to see where it's going, but I'm not hopeful that this is going to be one that is even a 4-star, just because if it continues on its current trajectory, it seems like it's going to continue to be a little bit confusing and a little bit too much. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. It kind of feels like I need a whiteboard and like the red string and like push pins and like trying to connect all the dots and figure out how everything is connected. And I don't, again, it's not something that I dislike. I just don't think I like the way that it's being done, because it feels a little too like convoluted, like just too much. Like it needed maybe like thinned out a little bit. Hopefully I'm making sense, because I'm not the best with words sometimes whenever it comes to my complicated feelings on things. But that's where I'm at with that. I am off again today. I am going to be doing a lot of work today, though. Not my usual work, though. I have to help my husband with fish tank business. If you have talked to me before, you probably know that we have a lot of fish tanks in the house, as well as a lot of cats. My husband is finally getting rid of one of his fish tanks and rehoming probably about 200 of his fish. So I'm very excited about that, because there's been a little bit too much for us to take care of lately. So I need to help him, because that is a very big job, trying to catch that many fish, get them into buckets, and make sure that they have air, and then dumping out the sand and dumping out all the stuff out of the tank itself, power washing, and it's gonna be a lot. We also have not only 2 tanks and 2 filters and the fish in both of those tanks that we are giving to somebody and rehoming, but we have a 150-gallon horse trough outside that is full of baby fish that have been born, or that were born over the winter, that have been growing out in this big trough outside. So we also are giving him all of these fish as well. This is somebody that my husband has talked to before and is very knowledgeable about the hobby, and has probably about 3 times as many fish tanks as we do. So I feel like they are going to a good home and that they'll be cared for there. And he has more time than we do to do all of those things. So that is my plan for today. I am going to finish this, The Kind Worth Killing. And then if I have time, I might start my next book, so that I at least have a good idea of where it's going for whenever I go to work tomorrow. Because I do like to listen to audiobooks while I'm at work, but I don't like starting them while I'm at work, because I have a harder time paying attention in the beginning. And that's kind of when I really need to pay attention. So I am hopefully going to start my 3rd book tonight, so that I can work on it tomorrow while I'm at work. And I will update you whenever I have finished The Kind Worth Killing, and let you know, at least let you know what I'm reading for my 3rd book. It is later in the day. I am exhausted. We did get all of the baby fish going on their way to their new home. So that's exciting. And I started cleaning up the area where the fish tanks were because I'm going to be relocating my desk back out there. Thankfully, these are the tanks that were... Apparently, I'm not allowed to close the door to my bedroom anymore. Anyways, these were the fish tanks that were out by my 2 bookshelves, which I'm very excited about giving to somebody else, because that means that I can move my desk back to where it originally was, over between those 2 bookshelves, and I might be able to actually use my space again like I used to be able to. So that's exciting. I did finish The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I am going to give this 3 stars. I feel like overall this wasn't quite as cohesive as it could have been. I do feel like there were way too many things going on in this book, way too many characters' perspectives to follow, and it kind of just ended up being too unrealistic for me in the grand scheme of things. I wasn't really able to suspend my disbelief in order to really enjoy what was happening. The twists in this book, there are a lot of twists in this book, but I feel like they're kind of... Now, this is older, so, I mean, this is, 10 years old now, so maybe back, if I would have read it back then, I would have enjoyed it more. But I feel like now, reading it now, that the twists are kind of tired, and there were just too many of them, and like, it's just things that you've seen before, at least reading it now, 10 years after it's been published. I didn't really connect with any of these characters either. They're very unlikable, and not in a way that was good. I mean, they just didn't really have any redeeming qualities to them to make me care about what was happening to them at all, which is unfortunate. But overall, like, I am giving it 3 stars. So I didn't hate it. I just felt like it was fine. Like, there could have been things done a little bit better. The concept of it, I didn't mind. I liked the concept of it. It's very domestic, though. Very domestic. So, like, if you're not into domestic thrillers, then this is probably not going to work for you. I don't mind domestic thrillers, so I didn't totally hate it. This did end on a cliffhanger, though, and I know that there is at least one other book. There might be 2, I think. Anyways, there's at least one other book after this one, called The Kind Worth Saving. I am not really interested enough, though, to continue, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I am going to try to read from Peter Swanson again in the future, though, because I don't want to completely give up on him yet, because I don't really remember. I do remember a little bit about 8 Perfect Murders and I do remember enjoying that book. I just don't remember what it was about. So, yeah, I do definitely want to continue to try it, at least try to read from him again and see if his newer novels are better than this one. So moving on from that one, I think that I am going to start my special edition next. I don't have very many special editions of books that I haven't already read. I don't subscribe to any book boxes that have special editions. I just don't want to. I'm not really able to pay that kind of money for a book, not knowing whether it's going to be something that I keep or not, because I don't know whether I'll be able to then, resell it on Pango maybe or something to try and get some of that money back if I don't like it. So, but this one, whenever I saw this, I could not pass it up, because of the cover mainly. So for my special edition book, I want to read Last to Leave the Room by Caitlin Starling, because this cover is awesome. I love this cover so much, obviously, because there's a cat on it. And regardless of whether I like this book or not, I'm going to keep it because I love this cover. It has really cool sprayed edges and that on the back. I don't know if I've even looked at the inside. Oh, there's stuff in here. This was an Evernight from a Lumicrate book. The person that I bought it off of actually put the like signature plate on the inside also, so that's cool. But the inside of the book, well, that's not that exciting, I guess. It's just a door and nothing on the back. But the end papers are kind of creepy. Yeah, so hopefully this is good. I would like to... Oh. Interesting. And then here's the back one. So hopefully this is good, because at least, you know, I would like to have good memories attached to this book. Because, like I said, I'm going to be keeping it either way, just because I love the cover. Other prompts that I want to use with this book are... Hold on, I have to look. Monster as a character, because I did read the synopsis for this. I'll read it to you real quick. And because I feel like Monster as a main character, I don't have a lot of books that I know prior to reading it that are specifically that way. I am stretching this maybe just a little bit, because the main character, it sounds like the main character is not a monster in the typical sense, but a monster of a person. So she does not sound like she is a nice person. So I'm going to count that as a monster. And I'm also going to use it for matches my most recent song. The song that I've been listening to the most recently is Zombie by Youngblood. This cat kind of looked like a zombie to me, so it does, you know, it reminds me of that song. So we are going to count that as well. I was going to read the synopsis for you, but now that I'm thinking about it, I will wait and read the synopsis to you tomorrow whenever I get halfway through. I am going to start this tonight, but I probably won't get far into it. I might be lucky to even get 25% into it. So I will update you tomorrow whenever I get halfway through this. I am 50% into Last to Leave the Room by Caitlin Starling. I don't think I gave a synopsis for this, so I will read that to you. Oh, I forgot that I had stuff in this book. There we go. Okay. The city of San Sirocco is sinking. The basement belonging to Dr. Tamsin Rivers, the arrogant, selfish head of the research team assigned to find the source of the subsidence, is sinking faster. As Tamsin grows obsessed with the distorting dimensions of the room at the bottom of the stairs, she finds a door that didn't exist before. And one night it opens to reveal an exact copy of her. This doppelganger is sweet and biddable, where Tamsin is calculating and cruel. It appears fully terribly human, passing every test Tamsin can devise, but the longer the double exists, the more Tamsin begins to forget the pieces of her life, to lose track of time, to grow terrified of the outside world. With her employer growing increasingly suspicious, Tamsin must try to hold herself together long enough to figure out what her double wants from her and just where the mysterious door leads to. So I am liking this a lot so far. I feel like the synopsis maybe gives away too much of the story, because I'm halfway through and that's what has happened up to this point. It is really slow, but I am, like, there's enough happening that is intriguing me to still be curious about what's happening. I am feeling like I was correct in assuming that this main character is kind of a monster. She isn't very nice. She is cruel, and she's just not a nice person. And even though I don't like her though, like, I still want to see what's happening with this double that's come out of this mysterious door in her basement. I don't know that I'm fully grasping like the science behind everything, or like how something like this could happen. And maybe it's just, that speculative to the point where, it's not necessarily something that can happen in, well, obviously it's not something, doors just don't appear in people's basements, but it, I guess I'm not understanding how this exactly is coming about. Like, it's not really explained that well. But I am really curious as to how this double of her has just emerged from this door in her basement. So I'm hoping to get some answers for that. Right now, there's just a lot of discussion between Tamsin and her double, and there's other things that have been happening that I don't want to give away, but it's mainly like Tamsin, a lot of introspective things too, trying to figure out, why she's like losing her memories and things also, because she has been doing that. And so there's been a lot of just discussion in this. So I can see how it would be boring for a lot of people because there's not a whole lot actually happening. But I'm still intrigued enough to find out where it's going. I've read other books by Caitlin Starling before, and I do like her writing, but I don't think anything's ever been a 5-star from her. I'm trying to think of what else I've read. I've read The Luminous Dead, and I've read The Starving Saints. Neither of those were 5 stars. So I'm hoping, because this one feels like it could be. It just depends on where it goes and how everything plays out, I guess. I have to go to work today, which is a bummer, but I will finish this while I'm there, and I will give you an update whenever I'm able to. It is the next day. I was not able to update last night. I got too busy doing other things around the house, but I have finished Last to Leave the Room. I think I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It wasn't horrible, but it didn't end up going in the way that I had hoped that it would go. I think that overall, from beginning to end, it's not a long book. I mean, it's 310 pages, but it felt like a long book. The pacing was just really inconsistent. It's slow in the beginning, and it continues to be slow until the ending, and the ending kind of ramps up and things start happening, which was exciting, but because of that inconsistent pace and that it didn't really flow the way that it needed to, it just kind of threw me off and just didn't work for me personally. And the ending wasn't that great either. I don't really feel like things were resolved in a way that satisfies my curiosity about everything that they were like wanting you to be curious about in the beginning, with the city sinking and the store and the double, and the focus is not really where I thought it was going to be by the end of the book. It's kind of odd the way that I feel about it, because I feel like a lot of people would probably love the fast pace of the ending, or the last, like, I don't know, 1/3 or so, maybe a little less of the book. But I was actually like super into it in the beginning, and was really curious about all of what was happening, but it just didn't. I don't know. It's just weird that the end. I feel like the end should have worked for me better than it did. But yeah, I think that the pacing was just not. It didn't flow well enough. I really enjoy like sci-fi horror blends, and I think the horror was done really well in this. That towards the end there were like a lot of twists and things, and unexpected things that happen, which, and some, like, there's even maybe some things towards the beginning that were like that you might be able to consider horror, I guess. But yeah, the twists and everything were good. It's just the execution of it all that I think just didn't really work for me. I did enjoy the discussions about identity in this, though, and like your kind of personal identity and what makes people unique. And so I did enjoy that aspect of it, though. As far as the science fiction part of this goes, I do feel like things weren't really explained in a way that helps me understand literally anything that was happening. I like to feel like what is happening in a science fiction book is something that I can grasp. And this wasn't really something that I could grasp, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give this 3.5 stars, like I said. I am keeping this. Like I think I mentioned that before I even started reading this, that I was going to keep this copy because I love this copy so much. Just, you know, with the cats, of course, is a very good book to display for Halloween. And, you know, the edges are really pretty. So I am going to keep this book. I would still recommend giving it a try. I think that there are good parts in this book. It's just the book as a whole that didn't work for me personally. So on to our next book, though. I can't believe that it is almost week 4 of this readathon because I feel like time has flown by very, very quickly. The next book that I wanted to read, I need to check my phone for all of my notes. The last book that I want to read for this week is Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorick. This hits 4 of the prompts that I got on the Rebellion board. The first one is a book with a map. This does have a map on the inside. Something that's outside your comfort zone. I still feel like, even though I'm kind of getting into romantasy a little bit now and trying to figure out what I like, I do still feel like romantasy as a whole is outside of my comfort zone. And this is also a book that I heard about from a council leader's video. I can't tell you what video it was exactly, but I remember watching Mel actually reading Lady of Darkness in one of her videos that she, you know, had mentioned that she really liked it. So I put it on my TBR a while back that I wanted to read this, or at least give it a try. The last prompt that it's going to fit for is Found Family. I verified that this would fit. So book with a map, outside of my comfort zone, heard from a council leader's video, and Found Family. This is also on KU, so I can count that for one of my squares on Mel's Book Band Challenge that I've created for myself to do, which is exciting because I need to fill in, like, there's a lot of spots that I am obviously very deficient in. So I am going to start that, and I will give you an update whenever I'm 50% of the way through that, around 50%. This one is longer. It's the audiobook is, for me, listening time is going to be about 9.5 hours. So I am going to try to get through at least half of this today, and then try to get through another half of it tomorrow so that I can finish that book up while I'm at work. I, yet again, have to do laundry today. We go through so much laundry in this house. I don't understand why or how it happens, but with 4 people, it's insane the amount of laundry that we end up going through. So I need to do laundry, and I need to make chili for, we have cookbook club at my library. It's a lot of fun, but it's a little bit labor intensive for me in a way because I work usually all day on Thursdays. I'm there from 10 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and cookbook club is on Thursdays at 6. So yeah, I'll probably update you later on tonight whenever I get about halfway through. Listen, I am so excited. I am probably only about 40% into Lady of Darkness, but I wanted to give you an update because I'm so excited. I think that I finally have found another romantasy book that I'm going to love. Fingers crossed. And I might be jumping the gun by saying that, but I didn't give you a synopsis earlier, so let me read that to you. Owned by a ruthless assassin lord, Scarlet Monroe and her 2 sisters have been trained since they were children to torture and take life. They are the most feared trio on the continent, but they are also wild and unpredictable. A tragic night has Scarlet finding herself locked away in a noble's household, trapped and forgotten until she's ready to fall into line. until the day she is presented with a job. If she completes the assignment, her payment will be something she has coveted for 10 years: revenge against the Fae Fire Prince, who brutally killed her mother 10 years ago. Is she willing to sacrifice her ideals for retribution? But when children begin disappearing from her home, all her plans are put on hold as she races to save the most innocent. With the help of old friends, a jilted lover, and a mysterious newcomer who claims the magic of the Fae is possible in the mortal lands, Scarlet delves into the darkest corners of the world. Forgotten secrets will come to light, and she will discover the darkness extends far beyond her own kingdom. So this, I'm getting like serious, kind of those Fourth Wing feels. So I felt whenever I started Fourth Wing like I was instantly kind of connected to Violet and really loved her relationship and the banter with Xaden, and I loved the dragons, and I loved the fantasy plot, plus I loved the romance plot as well. So I'm kind of getting that same feeling from this one. This one is a little slower on the romance side, which I appreciate. I like a slower romance book, slower romance part of a romantasy book. And even in romance too. Romance in general, I kind of like it to be slower paced throughout the book, but to still have enough other things going on to keep me interested in everything and keep me invested in it. So this is what I think is going to be like enemies to lovers. But she does have, a like it says in the synopsis, like a jilted ex-lover that is also in the picture. And the friendships that she has with the other people in the book are fantastic. I love her relationship with Scarlet's relationship with Cassius. They're kind of like a big brother little sister type of relationship, and I don't know why I don't even have a brother. I don't have an older sibling, but it's just always been something that I wish that I had, is like an older sibling to kind of like protect me and take care of me, and somebody that kind of loves you unconditionally like a brother or a sister would. So I love their relationship. That it's not a romantic relationship. They say that multiple times, up until this point. But the fact that there are so many different types of creatures in this is appealing to me as well. There are vampires and witches and fae and shapeshifters, and I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. Where we've gotten up to this point, you can tell that there's going to be a romance at some point. I don't know when that's going to be. But I do, like I said, appreciate the fact that it's slower, and I do enjoy the banter. I don't know. I really love it so much so far. I'm hoping that it continues to be good. I want this to be like my new obsession. Part of the problem with this, though, is that this is, I don't know if this is a 5-book series. Let me check. Okay, so it's a 5-book series with the 6th one maybe coming out. Oh, a 6th one is supposed to come out in November. Oh no. Okay, so what I was going to say is this is my issue with series, though. I find a book that I love, and then I have other things planned to like read, and because I am the way that I am with my plans and not breaking them and like having to stick with everything, I have a hard time breaking from those plans in order to like continue a series whenever I want to binge it. But I am really loving this. I'm hoping that I continue to love it, and that, things kind of like keep going the way that they're going right now. I'll finish this tomorrow while I'm at work, and then I'm not sure if I'll have time to actually update you tomorrow night or if I'll have to do it the next day. But I will give you an update as soon as I'm able to and whenever I have finished this. It is like 2 days later, and I have finished Lady of Darkness. I absolutely love this book. It's not a perfect book. but it's still, I'm giving it 5 stars. It was so, so good. I love the characters in this book. The characters in this book are phenomenal. I cannot tell you enough how much I love the romance in this book. I think it was perfect. I think that the world building in this book is phenomenal. I love the story and where the story is going. It seems like it's going in a direction that I am going to be really happy with. So I think that Scarlet is a really fantastic female main character. She has a lot of trauma and she has a lot of demons, and she, there's some, I feel like some like mental illness things going on there that I felt was done really well. There are times where she's like really frustrating, but I feel like that is part of her character and who she is and how she deals with all of her issues. And I think that the characters that are kind of like the supporting cast of characters are really interesting, and I love the relationships that she has with these characters. Again, especially Cassius. I think that he was probably my favorite character. He's probably my favorite character in the whole book, to be honest. I just love the way that he was supportive of her and protected her. And I do find that that's something that I really like in books in general, is, whenever you have this character that is being super protective, even though Scarlet in her own right can take care of herself. She can protect herself. She's more than capable. She is like a kind of like a lady by day and assassin by night type of character, which I think is really cool. She can take care of herself, but she's vulnerable in some ways, and he's there for her to protect her when she's having those moments of vulnerability. And I love that in a person, like in real life, and I love that in a character. That's, something that you would want out of your best friend, is somebody that's there for you to pick up your pieces whenever you fall apart, because not everybody's perfect. Not everybody can be strong all the time. So I just really, really enjoyed that aspect of the book. And I do think that the world building is done so well. And I think she did a really good job of like putting together all of the intricate parts of the history of this world that she's created. So I definitely want to continue this series at some point. Like I said before, I think that I'm going to have to do like a series audit and kind of prioritize some things. I feel like I have the rest of my year planned out, which is kind of crazy. I make no excuses for the way my brain works. I feel like that's something that I do want to prioritize maybe in the new year, though. It might be one of my goals for 2026 is to kind of prioritize series and try to get them finished. The ones that I still care about. There's some that I know I have read quite a few books in the series, and I don't really, I haven't picked up another one for a while, and I don't think that I really even care about it too much anymore, unfortunately. Some series, kind of get stale after a while, and the author doesn't do enough to further the character's development after so many books. Not all the time, but I'm finding with some of the ones that I have kind of stopped reading over the years. So yeah, 5 stars for this one, which is very exciting. I'm so excited that I finally found another 5-star romantasy book that is definitely going to be in my top 10 favorites of the year, I would think. It's just so good. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you give it a try. And that wraps up week 3 of Readathon Rebellion. I cannot believe that we've already been doing this for 3 weeks. I feel like it's just started. I don't know where this month is going. So I will have another vlog out next Sunday. That will be the last one for Readathon Rebellion. I'm excited to get to some of the books that I have on that TBR because Some are ones that I've been meaning to get to for a while. So I will see you next Sunday. Bye.